Hi, just a little knife review, or rather multi-tool review. Just following on from the reviews I've done over the last couple of weeks of the Swiss Champ from Victorinox and the original SwissTool. I thought I'd pick up the, well, what would be sort of an updated version of the SwissTool, which is the SwissTool Spirit, which is, this version is what they call the Plus. So it's a nice little leather pouch there, belt loop on the back, and a Velcro fastening there. And then you've got a few extra tools tucked in there, which we'll have a look at in a minute. But the main multi-tool is that. So just very quick comparison, slightly smaller footprint than the original, and certainly whether it's open or closed, much more ergonomic. It's curved, it's got smoother edges, it's, I'd say, modernised, if you will. But we'll do a proper comparison video because there's a couple of other interesting differences on that, so we'll have a proper look at that another day. But just getting on to the SwissTool Spirit itself, obviously very much a plier based tool, so the primary tool there is the pliers, like a Gerber, like a Leatherman, and certainly something which can compete with that part of the market. As I said with the Champ here, this is a Swiss Army knife which happens to have some pliers. This is very much a plier based tool, and that's the key focus. So almost full size plier head there, needle nose, gripping section in the middle there, and then wire cutters, wire strippers at the edge there. Not replaceable like you might find on some of the Leathermans, but covered with a warranty and not likely to fail in day-to-day use. So that's what I call the primary tool. And then you've got a little bank of tools either side. So we'll start off on this side. Now first of all, you've got the scissors. And again, a slightly updated way of delivering the scissors there. It's got the little bend there. It's got a different sort of spring. Normally it's a bent bit of wire, but that's actually a sort of spring arm with a little cam at the end. Actually, they do feel a bit more robust. Quite nice scissors, those. As I say, not UK, well, not 100% UK friendly, because all these tools lock. With a sort of modified backlock arrangement. Next up is what I'd call a glasses screwdriver or electrician screwdriver. So that's very small flat head, suitable for the sort of grub screws you'd find in the back of a plug, that sort of thing. Electrical fittings. Not entirely sure what this little nub is for. I think it's probably just to get it to lay right in its respective slot so it's available to grab. Next up is a Phillips head. And as you find with the original SwissTool, it's got this sort of 45-degree half stop. In practical use, I suppose that's quite a useful angle to have it at. Never happened to use it that way, but there you go. Then you've got the classic can opener, flathead, and the secondary use for this little curved blade is sharpened, and Victorinox suggests that's for could be used for opening the skin of a citrus fruit, so that's quite useful. And finally on this side you've got a file. Now I've said before, I really do like the files that are in Victorinox's products. They're always a very good, a aggressive pattern, and the front edge here is up for the job of sawing off a bolt head overhanging bit of metal. Very functional, good quality. Okay, over onto the other side. Got the saw. Nice saw pattern. Rather nice pattern of the teeth there. Very functional, good cutting length. You can certainly cut through probably an inch square of wood without any issues there. And you've got the awl. Classic bottle opener with large flathead and wire stripper there, so you can get your piece of electrical wire, jam it into that notch, pull it through, and it should strip off the plastic outer. Then we've got very interesting little tool there, and something unique, truly unique to the SwissTool line. And it's sort of a bit of a jack of all trades tool. It's a chisel. All these edges are sharpened, so it's a chisel, sort of box opener, scoring open something, cardboard, and then a couple of sharpened notches there. One being a V notch and one being a wider oval shaped notch. So certainly the V notch would look like it could function as something to maybe strip a wire as well, catching in there, chopping it through. And this wider notch, I'd suggest that's probably a good cutter for almost seat belts, so it's almost like a safety tool. As I say, you don't find that tool, as far as I'm aware, on any other multi-tools by any other manufacturer. I've not seen it on any Victorinox products elsewhere. Just looking at the original SwissTool, they've got a very similar one, but it's slightly differently designed. And we'll do a proper comparison video at some point. If you look at them side by side there, the original doesn't have the second sharpened edge up there, and the circular notch is much smaller. And I think it's been improved on the Spirit. I think that's better design. But again, one of those tools which you'll find useful when you need it. That'll dictate how you're going to use it. And then the final tool, probably an odd one. This was a surprise when I first opened this. The blade. Obviously this is a locking blade, so bear that in mind. But it doesn't follow the traditional Victorinox Swiss Army knife footprint. It's clearly been designed to remove the risk of it being used as a stabbing tool, I guess. So it's completely non-aggressive, albeit locking. I think others have described it as a butter knife. It isn't wildly sort of aesthetically pleasing, but it is actually very effective. So you've got, on the front edge here, you've got serrations. Serrations always make for incredibly effective cutting. And then on the rear edge you've got a small section of non-serrated. And conventional wisdom would have that normally around the other way, so you can do your sort of fine cutting tasks with the straight edge, and then hacking through fabric, whatever it might be, cardboard, bringing the cutting action nearer to your body. But it does work quite well, and certainly, as I say, serrations are very effective for cutting through material. Very sort of efficient. If you imagine actually with those serrations, the cutting edge is enhanced. The material is exposed to a lot, and certainly anything which binds up in there, so fabric, rope, cord, will be cut effectively. The one concern I have about that is the fact that it's not as easily sharpened, and certainly if you were out in the field, You can't just pull this through one of those carbide sharpening tools, although you really wouldn't want to do that anyhow because it wrecks blades. But if you really need to sharpen it, you'd be at a bit of a loss. So sort of half a dozen one, half a dozen the other. Interesting design, but I think I would have preferred a straight edge throughout, or maybe a serrated edge and a straight edge. Okay, well that's enough. Well, that's all the tools looked at. So we're on to what's in the bag, what the goodies are. So just to pop those out, this is what you get in the Spirit Plus kit. And this is coming in, I think its RRP is around about 160, but you can certainly shop around and get them for near 120. So what you've got here, let's move it into view. So interestingly, this is the only bit of the kit which actually integrates with the blade, or with the knife. And this is just a corkscrew which slots into there. Same fitting on the other side, and away you go. So you've got your corkscrew fitted. On the end of that you've got the good old micro screwdriver. So that really is for your glasses. Always like those. Got one stuck in my waiter, which goes in my jeans pocket. So it's a useful little tool. And then you've got basically a ratchet kit. 2 halves. It doesn't have a locking function as such, but if you put your ratchet head into that side, it turns, say, anti-clockwise, and then you pop it out into the other side and it turns clockwise. So you can get the functionality in there, and then you've just got a little opportunity to pop a few tools in there. So you've got a few Torx, Phillips head big, Phillips head small, and then a couple of hex, and then an opportunity to pop in a few more in there. And then that just pops back into the case. That goes in there, and the corkscrew goes in here, and the main tool goes into that. Quite a nice little compact package. Okay, well that's pretty much it for the SwissTool Spirit. As I say, really like the Victorinox products, especially their Swiss Army knives, because they're always going to be UK friendly. So the Victorinox Farmer in Alox there and the Waiter are always with me. And these are really useful things if you've got, well, maybe to have at home, but if you've got good reason, if you're going out camping and you're in an environment where you can safely use a locking blade, certainly a nice thing to have. If you're not in such an environment, maybe in your work bag or your camera bag or something like that, I would say probably the Swiss Champ might be more practical for the UK market. Okay, well that pretty much brings us to the close. As I say, we'll do a follow-up and compare them side by side, because I think there's some interesting differences. I've hinted on those in the videos so far, but it'd be nice just to focus on that for a whole video. As I say, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Please check out my channel if you like everyday carry, knives, fountain pens, quality footwear, denim, all that sort of stuff. Please check out the channel. We might share some common interests. Love it if you subscribed, and I'll catch you for the next video. Okay, hope that's useful. Thank you. Bye bye.